Baseball isn't boring, and the Bradford Show joining us here on the Christian Arcand Show. Bradford, how you doing, buddy?
Yay, baseball. Yay, baseball. Bradford Show is, by the way, in no longer in existence, but thanks for caring.
Well, it'll always don't. First of all, you can't kill a legend, okay? You can't. You can maybe take it off the air, but you can't say it doesn't exist. The Bradford Show will always exist.
Yeah, you can get T-shirts somewhere on Amazon. So as long as that's the case, I'm gonna sell some of them to that Super 70s guy. So it's gonna be great.
You can sell them to Jordan Hudson. Jordan Hudson will wear them because she wears the shirts of the things that don't exist anymore, right? The 28-3 shirt.
Don't think for a second that I haven't tried to simulate the Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick thing on the beach in Fort Myers. I mean, that's what spring training's all about. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get Ian Brown off the ground.
I was going to say, would you have Gordo up there or Sammy? Which guy from Play Testing is up in the air?
By the way, you mentioned Justin Slade. There's, a lot of times my instincts are keen. Like I have plenty of examples, including, by the way, texting Tyler O'Neill at 5:55 a.m. on the opening day when I said you're going to hit a home run today, and sure enough, that's 6 in a row in terms of opening day home runs. So I'll take full credit for that. But I had a bad turn today where I interviewed Justin Slayton extensively because I thought he was really, really, really good. I thought it was an interesting story, a year away from being the wide-eyed Rule 5 guy. And then as it unfolded today, I'm like, oh, that's one interview I won't reuse. So, well. Have
you been interviewing Rafael Devers every day for the last 2 weeks?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you said that. So, I've been there for every Rafael Devers interview this season, going back to February 17th. The no, 240, no, yes interview. I think that was exactly what he said. But and then you had the one in the clubhouse. I think about midway through, it was a little more tempered. I talked to him in the last week, kind of a short interview, but he said he was ready to go. Timing was a little off, but he's ready to go. And then obviously after he has the bad start in Texas, I think it's after the second game, we all gather around him. It's the awkward thing of like, did we talk to him? Yeah, we got to talk to him. So we talked to him. And then again today, because you can't really go to him every day, right? You can't ask every day. But today I felt like it was important. I think we all felt like it was important because, Alex Cora says, well, if this is in the middle of the year, we aren't paying attention to it. That, all due respect to Alex, we are. I mean, this is historic, what we're seeing right now. And when we're talking about anything historic, we're going to go up and ask. And I'll give Devers credit. In both cases on this road trip, he hasn't shied away. He hasn't given us, evil faces. He's answered the question and said thank you afterwards. So I guess that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say so. How much of this with Devers is mental? How much is physical? What would you give it percentage-wise?
50-50. I mean, I think it's mental. I don't think the DH thing by now, that's part of the deal. The only thing with the DH maybe was just the routine in between the bats. Maybe that screwed him up a little bit. But I don't think this was like, I can't believe I have to go to the plate. I can't believe I'm in the lineup card, as a DH. I think that is what it is, and he's known that for a while. I think mentally it's just, what am I going to get? Am I going to get blown away on a fastball, or are they going to throw in an off-speed pitch where I'm going to lunge at? He's just totally guessing. He's all out of sorts. So mentally, that's the 50%. Physically, you have to wonder about the shoulder thing. You just do. You have to wonder about, his conditioning, his timing, all the stuff that, we didn't get a chance to sort of navigate in spring training because he got 14 or 15 spring training at bats. And I don't care what they say about backfield stuff. It was so bizarre to me, Christian, that you had this run of Grapefruit League games finally. And I think you had 5 games, never back-to-back games. And meanwhile, you have the opportunity to get in games, but instead you choose to either use the traject machine or you hit in the backfield. It was bizarre. And I think that's a big part of what's going on right now. Just the mere fact that you didn't get the 40 to 50 at-bats that most guys get in spring training.
Yeah, mentally, I think you're leaving out one part, and that's the Bregman of it all. I mean, you could tell he was rattled by that. He made it pretty clear in that interview in February you were just talking about. And is that maybe still lingering here? Not just that I'm the DH now, but hey, they signed this guy. Hey, this guy just took my position. Hey, what's going on here? Like that. Is that right? Like, I mean, seeing him yesterday with Veritek consoling him in the dugout like that, it seemed more than just what pitch is coming, right? That seemed more emotional, more sort of mental than just I'm guessing wrong on the pitches here.
Well, yeah, it wasn't guessing wrong. No, that wasn't being consoled for guessing wrong in the pitches. That was being consoled for you just made history for the worst start. And I mean, I'm not even being smart. I mean, that was fact. He's making history. These are historic things when you do what he's done in terms of striking out and going 0 first. So I think that's what that was. If that was July and he was playing third base, I think he would have that similar reaction. And I say it again, like, I do think that the whole DH thing, first of all, if I wish people could see, Bregman was around Devers probably more than I saw him around any player. That isn't really the issue. I think that he has gotten past that. I think that he understands that this is what it is. I think he's understood this for a little bit. Anybody with two eyeballs can see they're a better team with Bregman playing third. So I think what you're seeing is a guy who, once again, no matter if you're a DH, third baseman, whatever it is being put in the history books because he's over it with all these strikeouts. I mean, I think that's what we're looking at right now. And I would be shocked, Christian, if he, even behind the scenes, said, you know what, I wouldn't be over, I wouldn't have all these strikeouts if I was playing third base. I think that excuse has come and gone for him. It just isn't even the equation.
Okay, we're talking with Rob Bradford here, WEEI, Odyssey, and, of course, baseball isn't boring. Let's talk about the rest of the infield, because outside of Christian Campbell, this lineup's not really doing anything. They're not striking out as often as Rafael Devers, but I don't believe this is the start we were all expecting, certainly not the one I was. What's going on with some of the Cassis, Bregman story? It doesn't seem like anyone is really seeing the ball all that well so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a simple answer. They didn't get their shipment of torpedo bats, right? Yeah. I mean, come on, everybody knows this. No, it was a surprise to me. This is one of why reading spring training is so difficult because, obviously, I single-handedly brought AM radio back with all the spring training broadcasts. So I saw a lot of pitches. I saw a lot of spring training. And what I saw was Tristan Cassis for the last couple of weeks being really good. Bregman having a great spring training, pulling the ball all over the place. I saw these guys, even Story, and then you get there and they're different guys. And that's how we have to remind ourselves. That's how it is a lot of times. We're seeing it to an extreme right now. But I think that it will level off. That these guys will be good. But you're right. I mean, they're 1-4. For really because of one primary reason, the importance of having your best players be at their best. That is what they're not getting. They're better defensively, other than the Slayton thing. Their bullpen has been good. The starting pitching has been pretty decent overall. This is the one thing, but it shows you this is why you pay all that money for these guys, because that's why it's so important in the game of baseball. You have to have these sort of guys produce, and if you don't, you end up at 1-4.
Yeah, you certainly do. And going into a couple more games here against Baltimore, I feel like Baltimore, Rob, is a team that everyone kind of wrote off. They lost Burns, they lost some guys, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, Red Sox will just blow right by them this year. They look pretty good, and they still have a lot of really young, good players. Do you think that they're going to be in the way here this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that all these teams could be potentially in the way, but with Baltimore, the why everyone wants to criticize them, including me, is you have this window of opportunity with all these good young players, and you don't make the Corbin Burns move again. Instead, you let them go, and then you fill it in with Charlie Morton and Sagano and some of these other guys, and you don't get the ace. You don't get the guy that everyone thought, okay, that's the guy. They don't get that guy, but still. They still have a very good team. If you get enough pitching, you'll be okay. And I do think they're a smart organization, right? I mean, other the Rays, I don't know. The same thing we do with the Rays, right? How could they possibly be good? I think the Orioles are a smart organization in that respect, that they're going to get the most out of these guys. Like, they ran a bunch of pitchers out there where you're like, they're not on anybody's fantasy team, maybe other than Batista at the end. But they know what they're doing. I mean, Matt Bowman, a guy who went to Princeton, who has been bouncing around baseball for the last couple of years, about 5 different teams, came in and got some of the biggest outs in today's game. But I think that's what the Rays do, and I think that's what the Orioles do as well.
All right, before we let you go here, Rob, let's end on a positive note. You mentioned good young players in Baltimore, good young player here in Christian Campbell, and another one, second-year player in Wilyer Abreu, the only 2 guys who are hitting in the entire lineup. What has most impressed you so far about Campbell and Abreu? I mean, this is a guy who didn't have a spring. He was puking all spring, and he comes out on fire.
Well, again, I'll start with Abreu. This goes back to the spring training thing, right? We didn't even know if he was going to be on the opening day roster. Yeah. He's having twins. He's throwing up. He's whatever. And, it's the big 2. And so the next thing you know, he comes out the gate and boom, there it is. And he's a good player. I mean, that's what we can't forget. We want to put Roman Anthony in the outfield, and rightfully so. He's going to be a good player. But Will Abreu is a very good player as well, offensively, defensively. And Christian Campbell, the thing I'm most impressed by him is that he's able to function without a roommate in his hotel rooms, which I love the kid. Like, it is, Christian, like, you've seen a lot of players come through here. It's so cool. Like, he's a good player, number one. And I think he's a better player than even I anticipated, because he wasn't good at the beginning of spring training. And I hadn't seen a bunch of them. But you watch him like, okay, that's what they were seeing in him. That's why they want to invest him for a long time. But he also is just, like, so refreshing. The whole thing about, I didn't know I didn't have a home roommate, the hotel, I didn't know we had a team plane, I didn't know all this. I love that. Like, that's a great thing. And he means it, because all he's worried about is playing baseball, showing up, and being a good teammate. And that's not hyperbole. That's a reality. So it's been pretty cool being around him. But, when he's carrying your team, that's probably not what you anticipated or were looking for.
Probably not. That is the voice of Rob Bradford. Baseball isn't boring. WEEI Odyssey. Rob, I'll see you at Fenway. Thanks so much tonight.
All right. You going to be there?
I'll be at Fenway. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be pre and post game.
Everybody? Can I call in? I'm going to call in Thursday night. I'm going to call you, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm going to be at the LL Bean store celebrating the great game of baseball. So I'm going to call in from there.
LL Bean in Dedham?
No, it's down at the Seaport.
Down at the Seaport, okay. Seaport. All right, very good. Cool, yeah, come on, go ahead. Call right in.
All right, thank you, my friend.
All right, that is Rob Bradford, the great Bradfo, joining me here on the Christian Arcand Show. 617-779-7937 is the phone.